Well, tomorrow, a forensic scientist will take the stand in Alex Murdaugh's double murder trial, and she's expected to answer questions from defense attorneys. Emotions were certainly high during the first week of the high-profile trial. There were fiery opening statements and testimonies from first responders. And during a testimony, a detective says there was no visible blood on Murdaugh the night his son and wife were shot and killed in 2021. Now, the death of the family's housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, helped unravel one of the biggest pieces of Murdaugh's money-making scheme.
Ma'am, she can't talk.
Okay, do you know...
She's cracked her head and there's blood on the concrete and she's bleeding out of her left ear.
According to the family, she died after a family dog jumped on her at the top of the stairs, causing her to fall. Her family says Murdaugh suggested that Satterfield's son sue him for insurance money, and they were supposed to get $4.3 million. But they say they never got that money, and Murdaugh stole it. Murdaugh was eventually disbarred as a lawyer after the housekeeper's family got a confession of judgment from Murdaugh for the entire money that was owed, and that started to unravel what else Murdaugh was hiding. Now, their attorney, Eric Bland, was in the courtroom watching opening statements and testimony, and he joins us live tonight to share his insight from week one. Thank you so much for being here.
Good evening. How are you?
Thank you. Doing well. And we know tomorrow's Murdaugh's defense attorneys, they will begin cross-examination. What hurdles will the prosecution likely face?
Well, before I get started into that, I do want to say that we also recovered in excess of $7.5 million for the boys, in addition to that $4.3 million judgment. And that $4.3 million judgment was used to get Alex disbarred. As for the trial tomorrow, Dick Harpootlian is going to begin his cross-examination of SLED agent Worley. She was the witness who basically had all the evidence admitted through her. So Dick is going to attack the evidence, the crime scene. As I've said a number of times, I've never met a defense attorney who didn't have criticism of a crime scene. Every defense attorney is going to criticize, no matter how much evidence is gathered, know how much they secure and preserve the crime scene. So Harpootlian's job this week is to whittle away at all of the evidence of footprints, the evidence of blood on the seatbelts, the evidence of GSR on the blue coat. We learned in the opening statement that Paul was shot first. So I think what he's going to try to do is show that this type of evidence gathering and analysis is junk science. Now, it's funny, defense attorneys say that if it hurts their client, whatever the experts will testify is junk science, but voice recognition, GSR, blood analysis, as well as phone mapping has been around for so long. I think the most persuasive piece of evidence so far is the fact that Alex was placed at the dog kennels 6 minutes before the phones went dead on Maggie and Paul. And more importantly, it looks like that there were two outfits that he was wearing that evening. One on a Snapchat that was done an hour before the murders allegedly took place. And then he was totally clean when the police arrived after he called 911. And he told both the 911 operator and then the interviewers that was released that he turned Paul over to check him for a pulse. And, you know, it's very gruesome. Paul's head was blown off. His brain was at his feet. There was blood everywhere. And for him to turn over somebody that would be considered, you know, dead weight, and pardon the pun, he would be full of blood and mud and everything. And he was totally pristine clean. So that's a tough hurdle that Harpootlian's going to have to overcome.
That's horrifying details. First of all, by GSR, you mean gunshot residue. Is that right?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes,
gunshot
residue.
I appreciate that. What do you make of that detail of his son being put in a dog kennel before his death?
Well, it's not a dog kennel. The dog kennels are next to it. He was in the closet. Okay. And I've been out there to Mizell, and there's about 15 different dog kennel runs. And a lot of people put their dogs there. In the kennel, they had feed and different things. And that's really where Paul was at the time he was shot.
And we know emotions were high in that courtroom, and many times Murdaugh was seen crying. Were you looking at the jury at all? Did you see if that landed? Did the tears seem genuine? And we're looking at him right now. Do you think it will have any impact on the jury?
I think it would and could. I also think that when his family came in, when the jury was seated, and his entire family sat behind him and continues to sit behind him, even though the state has spent millions of dollars in the prosecution of this case to vindicate the deaths of Maggie and Paul. The fact that the entire family is sitting on the defense side has to be noticed by the jury.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.